The space station hung in the black sky like a jewel. Its metal walls glimmered under the distant light of the planet below, a swirl of green and blue oceans. Humans, aliens, and machines moved in endless streams, trading, working, and living together in uneasy harmony. It was a place where cleverness mattered more than strength, where survival depended on quick thinking, and where a kind heart could make more difference than a powerful arm. Lyra ran through the crowded corridors, her glowing markings flickering nervously across her pale skin. She had nowhere to go. Her stepmother, a proud alien with sharp horns and an icy gaze, had thrown her out without warning. Lyra's father was gone on a distant world, and her stepmother had long despised her imperfections. Now, the young alien was alone, scared and desperate. She dodged merchants and workers, ducked under automated cleaning drones, and prayed she would not be stopped by security officers who might return her to her stepmother. Her stomach ached, not just from hunger, but from fear. She tried to remember the lessons her father had taught her: to stay calm, to think clearly, to rely on intelligence rather than brute force, but fear made her clumsy. Her glowing markings shifted from soft blue to deep crimson, betraying the turmoil inside. Lyra was not strong, not fast, but she had something else. A hope that someone, anyone, might see her as more than just a child to be discarded. Through a narrow passage, she stumbled upon a small human quarters block. Humans lived modestly here, far from the grandeur of the alien families. One door was slightly ajar, and she peeked inside. The room was small but orderly, filled with mechanical parts, tools, and a few personal items. And there he was, Ethan. Ethan was a human, middle-aged, with kind eyes and a calm demeanor. He was working on a small hover device, twisting wires and muttering to himself in soft tones. Lyra froze. Could she trust him? Her markings shimmered uncertainly. Finally, gathering all her courage, she stepped inside. Please, she whispered. Her voice was barely audible, trembling. Please, I have nowhere to go. Be my dad. I won't misbehave. I just need a home. Ethan looked up, startled. A small, glowing alien girl, no taller than a human child, was standing in his doorway. Her eyes were wide, filled with fear and hope at the same time. He blinked, unsure if he had imagined it. Wait, he said carefully. I don't even know you. Who are you? My name is Lyra, she replied. Her markings pulsed softly. My stepmother. She threw me out. I have nowhere else to go. I just need someone. Someone who will care for me. Ethan set down his tools, his mind racing. Humans were not supposed to adopt alien children, at least not without paperwork, council approval, and a lot of regulations. And yet he looked at her small, trembling frame, the fear and innocence written on her face. Something stirred in him that he could not ignore. I don't know if I can, he admitted. I've never been a dad. I'm not sure how. I'll be good, she pleaded. I'll listen. I won't misbehave. I just don't want to be alone. Ethan hesitated. His logical mind was in conflict with the instinct that told him to protect her. Finally, he nodded slowly. Okay, you can stay. But just for now, I'll figure things out. Lyra's eyes lit up. Her markings flashed a gentle golden hua, sign of relief and happiness. Thank you. Thank you. I promise I'll be good, she said, rushing forward to hug him. Ethan stiffened at first, but then relaxed, feeling the weight of responsibility settle onto his shoulders. The first night was not easy. Lyra struggled with human food, her stomach rejecting the bland rations he offered. She fumbled with utensils, accidentally knocking over cups and plates. Ethan watched patiently, gently guiding her. Slowly, he said, It's okay. You'll get used to it. They sat together on the small table, Lyra nibbling at a soft bread roll while Ethan quietly repaired a damaged hover drone. Around them, the station hummed with life, indifferent to their small, intimate moment. You know, Ethan said softly, humans aren't very strong. We don't have claws, or wings, or glowing skin like you, but we survive by thinking, by using our brains. Lyra looked up. her eyes curious. "Do you think humans are clever?" Ethan smiled faintly. "We have to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't last long out here. We're not the strongest, but we can make tools, solve problems, and sometimes help others." Alada's markings glimmered with a soft light, as if she understood more than words could say. For the first time since being cast out, she felt a spark of hope. Maybe humans could be more than just small, weak creatures. Maybe they could be her family. The next days were filled with small challenges. Lyra tried to adapt to human routines, waking up early, cleaning her quarters, learning simple human etiquette. She struggled, but Ethan guided her patiently. Each day she grew a little more confident, her markings stabilizing to gentle blues and soft greens, but trouble was never far. The station was small, and news traveled quickly. Rumors spread about the human harboring an alien child. Some aliens whispered behind his back, questioning his judgment. Others envied his courage, or at least his willingness to act when others would turn away. And Lyra's stepmother was not idle. From her luxurious chambers orbiting a nearby moon, she dispatched agents to track Lyra. They searched every corner of the station, scanning for her unique markings. Lyra sensed the danger, her markings flickering with anxious red pulses. But Ethan reassured her. "I'll keep you safe," he said firmly. "No one is taking you back there. Not while I'm around." Lyra clung to his words, her faith in him growing. She had never known such protection, such care. Her stepmother had demanded obedience, but Ethan offered understanding, patience, and trust. She began to realize that family was not just blood or wealthy, was protection, guidance, and love. One evening, as the twin suns of the distant planet set beyond the station's transparent walls, Lyra asked, "Do you think humans are really clever?" Ethan chuckled softly. "We try to be. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we never give up." Lyra smiled faintly, her markings glowing with a soft golden light. She wanted to believe that humans could be her family, that cleverness and kindness could outweigh strength and cruelty. In that moment, she felt safe for the first time in her life. The stepmother's agents grew closer with each passing day. Lyra felt their presence like a shadow, making her nervous. Ethan, aware of the threat, began planning precautions, strengthening locks, creating decoys, and teaching Lyra to hide when necessary. "Humans survive by thinking," he reminded her one night. "We're not the strongest, but we can be clever. And cleverness can save us." Lyra nodded, absorbing every word. She wanted to be clever too, to help protect herself and Ethan, her new dad. For the first time, she felt hope and determination coexisting with fear as part one closes. Lyra and Ethan settle in for the night, the station quiet except for the distant hum of ships and machinery. Outside, shadows shift, hinting at the approach of the stepmother's agents. Inside, a bond forms between human and alien, forged in trust, courage, and the fragile beginnings of a family. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But for now, Lyra finally feels safe. She has a home. And with Ethan by her side, she begins to believe that humans, small, weak, clever humans, might just be strong enough to protect her from the dangers that lie ahead. The space station never truly slept. Even at night, lights flickered in corridors. Hovercarts hummed along narrow lanes and distant ships docked with metallic clanks. Lyra lay on the small cot in Ethan's quarters, staring at the ceiling. Her markings glowed softly, a pale gold that mirrored her cautious hope. She had a home now. But fear still lingered. Her stepmother would not give up so easily. Ethan worked quietly at his workbench, assembling a compact device. His brow furrowed as he adjusted a sensor, but he kept one eye on Lyra. He knew her fear was real. The agents of her stepmother could arrive at any moment, and they were clever and relentless. Humans might be physically weak, but they had their own weapons, brains, intuition, and the ability to think 2 steps ahead. "Ethan," Lyra whispered, sitting up, "do you think she'll find us?" Ethan paused and looked at her. "Maybe," he said honestly, "but we'll be ready." Cleverness isn't about hiding forever. It's about using what you have to stay one step ahead. Lyra nodded, absorbing his words. She had learned from her own culture that trust was earned slowly, but with Ethan, trust seemed natural. He had not judged her for being different, for being weaker, for being an outcast. Instead, he had offered her protection, patience, and understanding. That made her feel more powerful than any physical strength could. The following day, Ethan put his plan into action. He started by reinforcing their quarters. Simple locks were upgraded with makeshift security measures. Doors were reinforced with lightweight alloys. Sensors were installed to detect any approaching threats. Lyra helped, learning quickly. She moved with surprising agility. Using her natural grace to place devices in spots Ethan would have missed. "You're clever," Ethan said, noticing her instinctive solutions. "Humans like to think they're smart, but sometimes you're smarter than us." Lyra's markings shimmered in response, a mix of pride and happiness. "I learned from watching you," she said. "You think differently. You don't just act or think," Ethan smiled. "Good, that's how we survive. Not by brute strength, but by being clever. Humans might be small, but cleverness counts for more than size or power." The station buzzed with activity, but their little quarters felt like a separate world, a haven of strategy and quiet planning. Ethan and Lyra talked about everything: human customs, alien traditions, the differences in how each species viewed family. Lyra shared memories of her father, her mother, and the cruel stepmother. Each story made Ethan more determined to protect her. Then, the shadows arrived. Lyra's markings pulsed red as she sensed them before Ethan even heard the approaching footsteps. The stepmother's agents had finally tracked her to their quarters. Ethan moved swiftly, signaling Lyra to stay behind the reinforced door. The agents arrived, humanoid, but clearly alien, with sleek armor and scanning devices. "We are here for Lyra," one announced. "Return her to her family immediately, or face consequences." Ethan stepped forward calmly, though his heart raced. "Lyra isn't going anywhere," he said. "She is safe here, and I will protect her." The agents exchanged a glance, clearly expecting resistance. Ethan didn't panic. Instead, he reached into his workbench and pressed a small device. A pulse of light flashed, temporarily disabling the agent's scanners. Confused, they tried to recalibrate. But Ethan used the moment to guide Lyra to a hidden passage he had prepared. "Follow me," he whispered. "Stay close, and don't make a sound." Lyra moved silently, her markings dimmed to a soft green to avoid detection. She marveled at Ethan's calmness, the way he thought ahead and used tools in unexpected ways. Humans might be physically weaker, but in ingenuity, they were unmatched. The agents regained their composure and pursued them, but Ethan's preparations slowed them. Hidden doors, misdirecting lights, and clever decoys bought them time. Finally, they reached a small maintenance tunnel that led to another part of the station. Ethan signaled Lyra to wait while he confronted the agents. "Listen," he said, speaking confidently. "You can take her if you can prove that keeping her here is wrong. But you will need more than threats. You will need evidence, because on this station, rules matter." The agents paused. Their scanning devices hummed as they tried to detect any irregularities. Ethan had anticipated this. With a swift gesture, he released a small device that broadcasted a holographic record of the stepmother's mistreatment. Harsh words, unreasonable rules, and evidence of Lyra's suffering. The agents hesitated. Their protocol required them to report abuse, and this evidence contradicted their orders. Ethan's clever use of technology and understanding of station rules had turned the situation in his favor. After tense moments, the agents backed down. "We will report this," one said, clearly reluctant. "But the council will decide her fate," Ethan nodded. "Good. That gives us time to protect her." He turned to Lyra, who had been holding her breath, and smiled. "See, cleverness wins again?" Lyra's markings glowed softly, a golden light of admiration and relief. "You really are the best dad," she whispered. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest that had nothing to do with physical strength. This was pride, love, and connection. something no weapon or armor could replace. The next days were quieter but filled with preparation. Ethan guided Lyra in learning more about human life, how to cook simple meals, how to manage her routines, and how to navigate the station without drawing attention. Lyra adapted quickly, her intelligence and natural agility making her an excellent student. She even helped Ethan improve some of his devices, suggesting modifications he hadn't thought of. "You're clever, Lyra," Ethan said one evening. "Humans might be smart, but we learn from each other. You're teaching me as much as I'm teaching you." Lyra's markings flickered in soft blues and greens. "I want to be like you," she said. "I want to protect myself, and maybe one day I can help others too." Ethan nodded. "That's the spirit. Cleverness is not just for survival, it's for making a difference." Finally, the council convened to decide Lyra's fate. Ethan accompanied her, standing tall despite the crowd of powerful aliens and humans. He had prepared documents, evidence, and witnesses to testify on Lyra's behalf. He relied not on strength, but on reason, empathy, human ingenuity. The council listened as Ethan calmly presented the case. "Lyra has been abandoned by her stepmother," he explained. "She deserves a safe home, protection, and guidance. I offer her that. You may doubt a human's ability to care for an alien child, but cleverness, compassion, and determination are what matter most." The aliens murmured, some skeptical, others impressed. The stepmother tried to speak, but her words were drowned by the evidence and the sincerity in Ethan's voice. The council debated, but in the end, they ruled in favor of the human. Lyra could stay with Ethan, officially recognized as his ward. Relief washed over both of them. Lyra hugged Ethan tightly, her markings glowing a radiant gold. "Thank you, Dad," she whispered. "You really saved me," Ethan smiled, feeling the bond solidify. "No, Lyra, we saved each other. You've taught me as much as I've taught you." Life settled into a new rhythm. Lyra adapted to human life, learning both its challenges and joys. She shared stories of her alien culture, helping Ethan understand a world beyond his own. In return, Ethan taught her resilience, clever problem-solving, and the quiet strength of human kindness. The station watched quietly as the unlikely pair grew stronger together. Humans were small, and aliens were often larger and stronger. But here, intelligence, ingenuity, and heart mattered more than brute force. Lyra flourished under Ethan's care, and Ethan found purpose and joy in guiding and protecting her. Even the stepmother, orbiting on her distant moon, could not ignore the subtle lesson the human had taught everyone. Strength is not measured in claws, horns, or glowing skin. True strength lies in cleverness, courage, empathy, and the willingness to act when others turn away. Lyra looked up at Ethan one evening, her markings glowing softly in gentle blues and golds. "I really do have the best dad," she said. Ethan ruffled her hair, a human gesture she had come to love. "You're my daughter," he said simply, "and I'll protect you, teach you, and be here for you." That's what family means. For the first time in her life, Lyra felt completely safe. She had a home, a protector, and someone who believed in her. And Ethan, a human who was neither the strongest nor the most physically capable, had shown that intelligence, courage, and heart could overcome any obstacle of a powerful alien. Families and cruel stepmothers, the stars outside twinkled endlessly. But inside their quarters, a tiny family had found peace. Tomorrow might bring challenges, new threats, or surprises. But for now, Lyra and Ethan shared a quiet triumph. Together, they had turned fear into hope, weakness into cleverness, and abandonment into family. And in that small, unassuming human quarters on a crowded space station, the impossible became real. A human and an alien girl, bound not by blood but by trust, courage, and heart, had built a home. Lyra's eyes sparkled with soft light as she whispered again, "Thank you, Dad." Ethan smiled, feeling more proud than he ever had in his life. "No, Lyra," he said. "Thank you for letting me be your dad." Outside, the stars stretched endlessly across the void. But inside, cleverness, empathy, and love lit their world brighter than any sun.